Hi everyone, this is just going to be some videos that document how to make stuff in the C64 Dev Machine. This is the itch page where I've set the price to $4.99 now because there was an issue where I initially set it at $5 and I increased the price to $7.50. But the way I'd done it was kind of wrong. I'd done it to the individual files, which meant they end up locked out if you'd only paid $5 at this sort of level. So I brought that down to $4.99 to make sure that the $5 gets you access to everything. And then I've made the demos free instead of paying more for certain things, which makes more sense. I just kind of went about it the wrong way. So hopefully everybody's got access to it now. Sorry, there's a couple of people that maybe paid the $7.50, which is kind of the recommended price that I want it to be at, and eventually higher. But I'm kind of stuck now with making it $4.99, and it's just the way it is. I was hoping to make some sort of money out of it, but maybe it will do better at that price, and it will cover more ground at that price. It will be more affordable. I'm not too fussed about it, and if it's more accessible at that cost, then that's fine. So there's a free version. If you go to buy now, you'll actually see that there's a free version. Let's see, I don't know why it's not showing it like that. They've had it away down the bottom here. I don't like the itch page layout, to be honest, because you would never know there's a demo down here. We'll have to say that, because you could click the buy now up here and never realize there's actually a demo. So I'm just going to put that in right now actually. Let's just unpublish this and just put that in so that you guys know. Scroll to the bottom for the free demo version. Note. Right. Hopefully that makes sense now. Right, so if you scroll to the bottom for the free demo version, no, free version will always be a few versions behind the paid version, and capped at version 0.7x. I just want to finish the scrolling, and then that'll be the demo version. The paid version will have extra features, but I think there's enough there, up to the point of like scrolling and stuff, and the mouse, the sprite moving. There'll be other things like collision detection and animation nodes added for the paid version. So I do want to kind of like limit how much I give away for free, because I'm doing this full time now. I'm putting a lot of effort into it, and it's been an intense month of work. So yeah, someone had an issue where they bought it and they never had access to it, so I'm just hoping that's now fixed. So what to do is download the demo. This is the one I'm going to make some examples with, because if you try to load the older files with a newer version, there's a chance they might break because things got changed along the way. So I'm just going to download, there's the install and there's the zip one. I'll just do the smaller one, which is the zip file, if I remember right. Right, so that's now downloaded. And just extract that to here. So in here is just the Vice is built into it, so it can fire it up from here. It's everything that it needs for that. It's probably a bit more than it needs, to be honest, but I just put it in there just so it's there and works. Okay, so just fire it up. You will have this happen. There's no problem with it. You can scan it or whatever you want to do, but just do run anyway. There's no problem with it. And F11 will go full screen. Right, so let's make a few examples up to get started. So right mouse button to pan around, mouse wheel to zoom in and out. I forget if I've actually made it so that you can zoom in and out any other way. I can't remember if I've done anything like that, but that's really that. If you want to, you can make a mapping box. Call this start, right? And if you ever lose your way, just hold down space and then that'll pop up like that. Right, so with the sprite macros, let's see, let's just find the easiest macro is probably print, right? And what we'll do is I'll save each file as I go here into like a demo folder. So macro print is basically going to print whatever you type in here into screen location. The text itself is stored at 2000, whatever you type in. So I could do something like hello and welcome to my C64. Right, it'll capitalize everything and turn it into the right code. See, it does that immediately. It's 28 bytes, so 28 characters. 7 bytes to run the code. It's just a little kind of like it moves all the text onto screen is basically what it will do. There might be more optimized ways of doing things, but I'm just doing things the quickest and easiest way possible to begin with. So that will run this. It will make the background black because this is just a hard-coded thing, just so that you know it works. And then it will print this in white, and it will do it at 0, 0, regardless of there being stuff on the screen. So it won't clear the screen unless you activate that. Right, you see it's a few more bytes to clear the screen because it has to put loads of spaces all over the screen. Is basically how it does it. It just floods the screen with spaces. Again, there might be an easier way to do it, but I'm just doing it the hackiest way I know just now. And optimization can come in the next version of this tool once I've learned a lot. So that's what that does. But what you do need also is an RTS just to return it back to basic. It's basically going to do this and then do that. Then if you don't come out of it, it will hit a breakpoint. It will hit a BRK, and that's only because you've got something there. If you didn't have, pretty sure if you don't have an RTS, it will break. So you can test it with and without. Just press F5. And that will build it. You can click here as well, and there you go. You've seen it flash there, but it went back to there because if you look at the machine code and do D08OE to 08, you can see there it's like 4A, 4A. I'll do 4B just to be sure. You can see it got to this point, right? It finished flooding the screen and on the text. But then it got to this point and hit a BRK. There's no RTS there. So that's what made that break. So you want to just add that there. And then it will go back to the little basic prompt like that. Right, there's also a way to set the cursor so you can make your own custom screen. So you can always just Google that. Let me just get Chrome up, wherever it is. Right, so yeah, let me just move that here a wee second. And machine code to set the cursor on C64. Moving the cursor, basic C64 cursor positioning. Right, poke 211 and 214. So in order to see that, we would do your column and your row. So basically you're going to LDA your row into LDA your value and store that into, so store it in an absolute position of 211. Now I'm just going to switch to decimal here because this is a poke that I found. So it's 211, which if we switch this back to hex, it's 00D3, right? This flashes up every now and again. There's a little bit of a bug with it where it thinks I'm overlapping the memory, and I'll figure that out soon enough. So this is the column. That's what we want, the column, and the row. No, sorry, we want the row, so that's 214. So I'll just change that to 214, and that's 00D6. So let's say I wanted it to be row 3, right, just below the header. So I'll do that there. After it prints, it's going to set the cursor higher up. Let's just see if it works. Ignore the flashing thing. There you go, that moved that further up. So you can then make your own little custom Header here, do some stars like you do with how many basic bytes are left. Right, hello and welcome to my C64. In theory, you could also just print nothing at the location you want. So if you, instead of doing this, let me just test it. So if there's nothing in there, I would just set this to 3 like that. Let's take them out. Although that's a little bit more expensive than these two, perhaps. I don't want to have any location in there, so I'll just put this away up at a location I don't use, like 8,000. Right, it's moaning again. It's flashing all the time. A little bit of a buggy memory overlap check that I think it's overlapping every time you change something. But press F5 with that. That should do the same as this in theory. No, it doesn't, because it needs, I think it needs a character in there to run. So even like a space would be enough, potentially. I just having to move all the way to 8,000 just to load that, but that didn't work as a hack anyway. That didn't work. It only, yeah, it doesn't set the cursor. It just moves the text there. So you would have to still do something like that, right? And let's see, that's 35 bytes. It's 40 characters wide. So 7, 38. 39, 40, right? So that should say, oh, it's 39 bytes. I missed one. Let's do another space. I'll do it there. Right, so that's 40 bytes, and you could do something else like another print and move that onto, oops. So 0, 1, 2, so there's a space, and star 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 space space 64K RAM system mega machine, whatever you want, right? You could do stuff like that. And what's that? 35 bytes. So let's just center it. So 35, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I ran out of characters there. Let's take that one back. Maybe I can do some formatting checkbox later, but that should then go below it. And then the ready prompt. I'm just going to see where that ready prompt ends up. If it's one line directly below, if I've got a space. Okay, we get the same thing twice because I never changed the location. But the ready prompt is kind of where I want it. Right, so you need to change this. Now, if you look at this here, it's 2000 plus 40 bytes. It says 2000 to 2028. So basically I can start this at 2028. That's what it means, right? Hopefully it doesn't replace the last character or something like that. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Alright, so yeah, sweet. So that's, you got like a custom start. If that's all you wanted, that's what you've got, a custom start screen. And if you did want to poke the background, again, the easiest way is just to use your the same setup as this. This is kind of like a little training thing. So LDA immediate basically says get a value, right? Get a value ready. The value is going to be 2, which in this case is going to be red, right? And then put our value into store absolute. So we're going to store it in an absolute address, and DO20 is our background, right? Border, right? So we can change the border red, and if you wanted to change the background as well, it's DO21. Right, and instead of like dragging it like that, you can alt drag and it'll make a copy, and you can just change that to 1. So it's basically saying the accumulator is holding the value to store the accumulator into there and to there, right? It's just like the value 2 into both. And that should just work. So the screen will be red with white writing. There you go. All right, and that's you got your custom background now. It just depends what you want. If you want it to go back to normal, that's I think it's 4 in the inner one, so you can alt drag that and do 04. All right, I can't get rid of this. The init always does these things. It's just what I wanted in there, just to show that something works. You know, that's initial couple of bytes just to get it going. I can't get rid of that because I've built that into it. If you really want to mess with that, you could probably set up an org block, right, and then overwrite these locations after the fact. So in theory, this should work. So if this starts at 08 OE, and I say this starts at 08 OE, you see all the overlap, right? It's starting to flash like, okay, you're going to start overlapping stuff here, but I could essentially say SEI, wherever it is, SEI, right? Clear the interrupt, or set the interrupt, whatever it's supposed to mean. Then LDA IMM. I don't know what cut this at. 04 and OE, I think. 04 to DO2 1 and OE to DO2. And there's already a problem with this, is that I'm encroaching on this part of the memory. So what I would have to do to avoid overlapping this through my org block setup here is, well, you'll see in a minute, DO2, let me just do DO2, don't know if 4 is right, but you see this is now at 19 and this starts at 17, so I could put in a no operation, a couple of no operations, right? These are going to get overwritten, that is all going to get overwritten by this org block because this is just hard coded after the fact. Then it should go to here, right? And just work. I don't know if this will work. This is an experiment. So let's actually save this. Let's see. C64. Yeah, I'll just do demo files for version, I think it's 068. Can't remember what I'm running here. 68, yeah. Right, and we'll call this demo print. Right, so this is an overwrite. Let's see if this works. I don't know if this will work. Okay, yeah, I think it worked, although I've got my colors all wrong. Probably because I only overwrote the start, then this I replaced it with all this. So this can all go, right? That can all go because this doesn't matter now. So just drag them out and right click them is how you would destroy those, and save as, again, that. It will save any assets that you've loaded in. That's the assets folder. To be honest, it doesn't really have to create that if there's no assets added. Right. Yeah, I got the color wrong. I think it's 5. 05. Did that actually work though? Maybe it's 6. And if you wanted to change the color of this, you could change that to 14. In this case, it's not it's decimal value, and that would be more like the original. There you go. Maybe it needs some spacing. So what I would probably do then is just take away that one and that one and space it over, I think. and I think I'd drop a line down. Yeah. Add another star. Star. Take away a space or two. Right. Right, I think that's better. But I'll start this at 1, put that at 3, and then this at 4. The flashing's really annoying. I'm gonna have a toggle to disable that. But there you go. That's a bit neater. I'll probably take away. Let's see, that can go back 1 from the 64K. If that goes back 1, yeah, I'll just delete all of that from the 64K bit. And then that should be perfect. There we go. 64K RAM system mega machine. And actually got your own custom menu. So to explain how that works, this I've overwritten it because I've went from 08OE to 0819 with this block. See, 08OE to 0819. It's flashing because it knows it's overlapping existing stuff, right? And that's what it's designed to do. It's a bit broken in places where it's a bit too sensitive, I've noticed. It just needs fine-tuned. This prints at 0 on the left, 1 down, so we get a bit of a space from the border. And this basically 38 bytes worth there, and then 0, 1, 2, 3, so miss 1, gap, third one does this, and then this one's at 04, but it just seems to work for placing the cursor, and this goes back to basic. Right, so this bit's been overwritten by this, essentially. Doesn't mean anything for the size of your code, your final code. It just means this has now got extra instructions in it, but this will essentially overwrite that when it compiles the program. So you can overwrite the system in it. Right, I can even call this, I'll put a box around it, press B and drag, and I can make it line green and call it custom init. Right, and I can even do another box here, so B and drag that over there like that. I can call this custom header. Right, like that. I can move this sort of there. If you click it again, double click it, you can change the color. Right, and I can easily find these: spacebar, custom header, spacebar, custom init, start. Right, and that's really that. I'll save this now and I'll wrap up this video just so it's contained with this demo, and on to the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.